Hello 646 students, it's Amy Garrett-Dickers. I wanted to take a couple minutes to talk to you about Module 2. I've decided to split this module into two parts since we're still waiting for several of you to get your main textbook. And so what I've done with the first half of the module is give you some chapters from previous books that I've used or other books that I use as resources to start us on our conversation about comparative education, why we compare, how we compare, different mechanisms for comparison, etc. So if you go into Module 2, so as always, click on the modules link. You'll find the Module 2 piece here. There's a Module 2 task list, which I'll talk about. The beginning of class survey results, which are not posted yet because I'm actually creating this recording before they're due. And so I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to respond in that survey. And so I will post those results later on tomorrow, hopefully, in meetings most of the day, but in the next day or two, definitely. Your readings and resources, Wellman, Marshall, and Phillips and Schweisfurth, which are three different kind of orienting pieces to help you think about comparative education as a field. Your textbook, if you have it, also has one of those, Chapter 1, but I'm not going to require that at this point because so many of you don't have it, and also I'm not able to quickly go into the office and scan it like I would in a pre-COVID world. So there's also a link to the Comparative International Education Society, which is one of the major societies of comparative education. That is the one that we have in the US. There are branches of this, like AERA has branches across different places, different countries and regions. This also has branches in different regions of the world. I wanted you to explore their website and learn more about them as a society and the things that they do and how they work as a professional organization. And then go to their newsletter page and pick their most recent newsletter or any others that are interesting to you to kind of review. Your activities for the first two pieces of this, this one should be hidden, so just ignore that one. I will go back in and hide that. The country multimedia project. So in Module 3, you'll be picking a country to explain more about their education system, and I'll give you more information on that. There'll be a screen capture following. So in the next 2 weeks, I want you to really give some serious consideration to what country or countries you're interested in learning more about and why. And that's just this easy kind of heads up post. I think it's interesting to find over time. If a couple people are interested in the same country, then you might talk together, share resources, etc. There's a link there for comparative education societies with a specific assignment from the Marshall text. It tells you specifically what to do in the discussion board. And then comparative education first thoughts. So after having read these three primary articles, Wellman, Marshall, and Phillips and Schweisfurth, I give you a discussion board with those. This defenses of comparative education comes in later, and like I said, I'll go hide it so you won't even see it when you look through the module in the second half of the module, hopefully, once our books come in. So that's kind of where we are. I'll go into the Module 2 task list, which kind of outlines for you specifically. You know, I do think a lot of the work for this, at least the first half of this module, is really reading and understanding comparative education as a field. And it may be that you need to kind of read and think and ruminate and come back and have conversations with each other. You can schedule conversations with me to really talk about what it means to be working in a field of comparative education. Why do we compare? How do we compare? Those big questions. It's always good practice, I think, to go back to the discussions from the previous modules, see if anybody's asked you specific questions in your posts, see if there's any of your posts, your peers' posts that you'd like to respond to. I don't require, in most cases, responses to peers, but I do think it's important to go back and check in, especially if someone has written to you. You want to do the right thing and respond back to them. As I said, after I have compiled the results from the beginning class survey, I'll put those here. There's an optional discussion board. You don't have to complete it, but it's just to kind of, oh, these are the things that I've thought of when I look through the ways in which we've explained or answered the questions. There's your country multimedia project with the post. There are the links to the 3 articles or chapters, the links to the CIS website and newsletter. This is the link for the discussion board for the activity that's from Marshall. This is the link for the discussion board about comparative education. So that gets us through to the 7th of February. I'll be, of course, checking in and responding to your posts from the first module as well as this one. I'm available. If you want to chat with me individually, feel free. We do have our first synchronous session on the 16th. So well in advance of the 7th, I'll post the remaining activities to do for this module specifically. And like I said, I'm kind of waiting to see if there's movement on everybody getting books. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. Please post in the Ask Your Question forum, and I will be more than happy to answer them there. You can always, of course, email me. It's just sometimes email gets buried in the midst of all kinds of other emails. But I look forward to kind of delving into this big idea of comparative education with you in the next module.